If you have been listening to the show for a while, you might have noticed that suddenly the Democratic governors in Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, New York, even Illinois, Oregon, as they are rolling back all of their different restrictions, are starting to sound just a little bit like Clay and Buck, like Ron DeSantis, like Voices for Sanity in an Insane World. Well, even the media and the White House is starting to notice this, and they said, Jen Psaki, you ripped Ron DeSantis to the high heavens for making many of the same choices that the Democratic governors are now making, some of them a year later. And why are you not also ripping those choices made by those Democratic governors? How did Jen Psaki, a.k.a. Little Red Lying Hood, handle that question? Not very well. Listen.
I would say there is a distinct difference between standing in the way, which Ron DeSantis did, or Governor DeSantis, I'll give him his full title, of teachers, school administrators, and others taking steps to protect the students and their school communities. There's a difference between standing in the way of it, threatening to pull back funding, and allowing for local school districts to make choices, which is what a number of these states are doing.
I mean, Clay, this is what they should have been doing much sooner. This is why when people say, well, hold on a second, is it really safe? I don't know. Look at the state of Florida. They have not had these restrictions in place in schools in particular at all this school year, at all. And the numbers are fine. It's right in line with everything else. One of the problems here, I think, is that no one's claiming that the lack of restrictions is necessarily going to mean, that doesn't defeat COVID. It just deals with the reality of the restrictions don't actually restrict COVID, right? So then, you're going to have cases, you're going to have things that are happening to people, but it's pretty stunning to see how obvious the politics are here. How obvious it's because our team is doing it now that it's okay, which you even see among the journos, by the way. And now you'll see people saying, oh, look at this. You'll see people who are clear Democrat blue checks saying, look at this really insightful piece from somebody raising questions, raising tough questions about whether masking in school comes with some real drawbacks. And you and I are sitting here, screaming to high heaven like, yeah, welcome to the party, pal, John McClane style.
Yeah, that's a great line from Die Hard. And I got to tell you, these are the same blue checks who were ripping me to the high heavens when I went and argued against masks for my kids back in August at a school board meeting. That was exactly what they were ripping me for, and the data has been clear and readily transparent to anybody that was actually willing to look at it. And the overall overarching result here, I think, Buck, who is ever going to trust the CDC ever again when it comes to any of the things that they are being asked about? And so this is really kind of intriguing, and credit, by the way, to the media, which actually is finally start to ask questions like this. And again, Jen Psaki was asked, hey, does the CDC run the risk of becoming irrelevant if every Democratic governor, as well as certainly most Republican governors, are effectively acknowledging that there is nothing to support in the CDC data? Listen to this on Cut 7.
Run the risk of becoming irrelevant in the minds of many Americans, given that their states are moving along ahead without them?
Well, I don't think the federal experts on health and medical advice should be irrelevant to Americans at a time where we're still facing a pandemic.
It's such a snarky, mean high school girl answer to this. Yes, the CDC is largely irrelevant to people that pay attention and have any judgment whatsoever, because the CDC is not only wrong over and over again. Go back and listen to Rochelle Walensky with her, it protects so well against infection. What, 6 months ago? Yeah, about that protection from infection that the vaccine was supposed to give us. But beyond that, Clay, they're obviously gauging these important decisions that this affects. It affects the economy. It affects our day-to-day lives based upon what the politics of the Biden regime and the Democrat Party are. We all see it. We saw it with the fact that they were changing guidance for school reopening a long time ago, for the first time around, based on what the teachers' unions wanted. CDC, Fauci, they're meeting with the teachers. Why should the teachers' unions have any say in this whatsoever? The rest of us didn't get a say in whether we could go about our lives. The teachers' unions get to determine. They get a taxpayer-funded vacation for their adults at the expense of children. I don't think so, folks. I'm not giving this up. I keep telling it. I'm an anti-mask zealot. I'm holding the teachers' unions accountable for child abuse. I am not letting any of this stuff go because I worry we're going to go into the summer and it's going to be a big party and everyone's going to be cracking their White Claws or whatever, and they're going to forget about what they did to us.
What percentage
this
of
is
our,
not a White Claw.
Of our audience? Yeah, I was going to
say.
They're
like, we're drinking beer,
I know what you're talking about, but I think they're hearing like White Claws. They're like, what is that?
Is that does Buck wear his indoor scarf while he's drinking his White Claws?
Yeah, they are gonna. There's no law with the claw. Is the some of the moms what the moms say out there? I will say, by the way, it's an alcoholic beverage. If you're not aware of what that is, that was supposed to be what happened this past summer. Right? You're supposed to have a vax summer. It's supposed to be amazing parties. Remember, even in your town, Buck, people just turned all the different early days, like May and June and July, all of the different city parks just turned into basically open raves. Like people were just throwing crazy parties because the idea was, oh, everybody got vaccinated. There's nothing to be afraid of now. Let's celebrate the end of COVID. And then all of a sudden the data came out and they're like, well, actually, and then we had Delta and then we had Omicron. You're right that there will be an attempt to try to pretend that COVID is over this summer. I don't think there's any doubt. And we know based on the overarching data that it's likely to be lower cases then. But I just think the conjunction of COVID and inflation is going to make it hard for Biden to dig himself out of this hole. Plus, we know he's incompetent and not politically savvy. And frankly, I don't think he has very good advisors helping him either.
And I'm happy to see that the American people, a solid majority of them, the old let's get involved in some foreign conflict and maybe stoke some military intervention somewhere else, like Hillary with Libya. That's not happening, it seems, right now with Ukraine. I mean, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but I think the American people are like, that's not going to fly either.